Hey everyone. If it looks like in the thumbnail I was in a different location wearing a different shirt, possibly on a different day, it's because it's true. I filmed this video 2 weeks ago and I was literally just about to export it from my video editor when I accidentally deleted all the clips and my entire video was corrupted. So I'm here for the second time telling you my story about how I, as a non-target BCom girly from McMaster, got an offer from Goldman Sachs New York to work on their trading floor. First things first, this video about finance and my little stint as a finance bro slash finance gal, of course, could not be complete without a deck. So bear with me as I go through the deck. Now, this is my second time recording, as I said, so this is going to be very candid, very harsh. It's not going to be edited too well because I'm honestly done. I'm done with this. And this is a phase of my life, okay? So let's just pretend that we're talking about it over some tea. There's some cupcakes, there's some tea sandwiches, and we're just talking about a little phase in my life, and maybe it's relevant to you. So, first, how I got into Goldman Sachs New York City as a non target Canadian student. For those of you that don't know, I literally go to McMaster. Okay, so if y'all want to talk non target, like, I don't even go to Rotman. I don't even go to, like, what other ones, like UBC or like McGill. Like, I go to McMaster, y'all. And like, I love McMaster. Okay, I love McMaster. I love it with my heart. But I did get into Rotman, Ivy, AEO, but there were like multitude of factors. Ultimately, I just really liked the campus at McMaster. I knew the program was not as competitive, but I just thought, hey, who cares? Like, if I have ambition, I should be able to fulfill it no matter what school I go to. And honestly, I still stand by that. So, yeah, like, I'm happy I went to McMaster. I love McMaster, even though I'm literally wearing a Harvard shirt. But yeah, anyway, I always knew I wanted to go to New York City. Now, just to be completely honest, I knew I wanted to live and work in New York City, period. I did not want to work in finance in New York City. I did not want to work really anything in New York City. I just imagined myself living in New York City, and to live in New York City also having a job because like you need money or whatever. And like I've been to New York a couple times and you hear Wall Street this, Wall Street that. Like I touched the bulls balls for good luck, you know? So I just thought, okay, like if I want to work in New York, then the way to do it is to subsequently have to work in finance. So I remember my dad was watching like 60 Minutes one day and it was about Goldman Sachs. And I was like, what's Goldman Sachs? And he said, the best investment bank. And then I kind of like randomly, as a first year, put two and two get together. And I was like, okay, if I want to work in New York, then I'm going to have to work in finance. And, you know, I heard Goldman Sachs is the best. So why don't I just work in finance at Goldman Sachs so that I can live in New York? That's just like, to be completely honest. And of course, it wasn't grounded in true interest or whatever. I don't know how many people are truly interested in these roles or just want it for prestige or money or to live a New York dream, but all to say, it was a phase. Okay, where do I even start? In fall of 2019, I started my BCom at McMaster. And yeah, I had dissonance because I got into Rotman, Ivy, AEO, Queens Com waitlist. I have a bracket there for L because it was an L that I didn't get in because I eventually, as I said, I got rejected. But I just remember like being at McMaster thinking like, what have you done? You could be at Ramen right now. You could be at Western right now. And you're literally like at McMaster, a school at that point where you didn't even have to hand in a supplemental application. So I was like, you did like 5 extracurriculars for what? Anyway, here are some of the things that I knew about finance at the time. I watched Wolf of Wall Street and I thought that was pretty cool. And I liked the excitement, the chaos, the glitz of it all, the glamorization, and that's kind of all I knew. I knew about stonks because ever since I was 18, I did invest part of my paycheck, given it was very, very small, into stonks. And I still love stonks. Like, I still love market, participating in the market, investing, personal finance. So I don't think that will ever leave me. So that was a genuine interest. And Fast Money. My dad always watched Fast Money when I was a kid, which is a show on CNBC about stocks with a bunch of traders on it. And I remember when I was a kid, I hated when he was watching it because it meant I couldn't watch my cartoons or Disney Channel. But when I got older, like in high school, I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. Like you can own like Amazon and Apple or whatever. And that's kind of what got me interested in finance. The date is October 9th, 2020. I just started my second year and I landed my first sales and training internship for summer 2021, which is my sophomore summer or second year summer. Where do I even start with this? So, my first year summer internship, which is really anything that you can get, I worked in sales at an ed tech startup based in Vancouver, which I really liked. But I knew that my next internship, I wanted to be in sales and training and finance because I did map this out pretty early from what I understood. First year internship, you get anything that you can get. Second year, you work the job that you want in the city that you are from, or, in a city that's in the country that you have citizenship in. And then in the third summer, you can go and do that very same job abroad. So my plan in first year was to get any internship, which I did. Second year, do sales and trading at a Toronto bank. And then in my third year, do sales and trading at an American bank. And I would say that's a very typical path for a lot of like high achieving students. So, yeah, I did land a sales and trading internship at Scotiabank. I was not a part of like any club. I didn't know anyone that did sales and trading. I honestly like did not know a lot about sales and trading. Like I thought they managed like a book. Like I thought the trading floor, they weren't I didn't understand that they traded on behalf of clients and like made money from commission. I thought they literally managed like billions of dollars. Like I thought they were like a hedge fund. So I don't really know how I got through the interview, but I guess I understood the fundamentals of like equities and fixed income. And like I remember I had a coffee chat with the campus recruiter in October, like early October, and she really liked me. And she said, it was on a Friday, and she said, okay, Wynette, on next week on Monday, you will have a chat with me and a trader as a screener. So I had a 30-minute interview on that Monday, and then they liked me. They asked me questions like just behavioral, like why are you interested in sales and trading, but then also like what are the pros and cons of a high and low Canadian dollar, a bit about macroeconomics. And I learned a lot of that stuff from my first year econ classes. And then on Wednesday, I got the call that I was invited to the Super Day. So on Thursday, I had the Super Day. It was a behavioral panel, or sorry, it was a panel that was behavioral and technical where I did a stock pitch. And then there was a straight up technical, which was like honestly really hard, but I'd say I could answer like 70% of the things, which is good. I suggest that you use the Western Ivy Sales and Trading Club deck to practice. Like they do a good job of encompassing like most of the products traded on the trading floor. And then I had a 30-minute behavioral, which honestly I aced because I was just so happy to be in the clear from that really hard technical. And then on a Friday, I heard I got it. And then Thanksgiving was literally that weekend after. So I was feeling hot, not gonna lie, especially because like a lot of it's hard for second years to get front office finance internships. I was like there were 4 second years and there were 16 in total in that cohort of Scotiabank for that summer. So I was pretty proud of myself and I think I always will be. But yeah, I did sign that and it felt really, really good heading into my second year with a front office internship already lined up. But this is about Goldman Sachs. So while at Scotia, Goldman Sachs apps for next summer come out. So the date is June 7th of 2021. And back then you had to apply for 3 locations. I don't know if it's the same now. I do know that applications have moved up though. So although I applied in June for the following summer, I think it's even moved up to like April or May. So just keep your eyes out for that. Remember, this is from 2021. But on June 7th of 2021, while at Scotia, I just finished up my second year. I apply for New York, San Francisco, and Singapore in that order. So you do rank them. New York City was my first choice, although like I would not complain working in San Francisco or Singapore. And I remember like having no hope. I like threw together my application. I already had my resume ready. And I looked back and my resume didn't even have any points for Scotiabank. Like all it said was completing a 16-month internship on the FX training desk. Like I could have added points because at this point, June, I was halfway done my Scotia internship. Like I was doing stuff, but I had just no hope in this that I just submitted like a bare bones resume. I guess it was just enough that they saw I was doing trading at Scotiabank. And I did end up learning that Scotiabank's FX team is actually quite well known at Goldman, New York, and Scotiabank's office in New York is directly across Goldman's office. So, and I know like a few interns at Scotiabank, their next summer they did end up going to Goldman Sachs. So, anyway, uh, I think it was lucky, I guess, that I worked for that specific team at at Scotiabank. And yeah, the cover letter, it was only a 300 word cover letter that year, so not a full cover letter. If you're interested in seeing my resume and cover letter, you can head over to my TikTok at it's Wynette YT, as in YouTube, where I like break down exactly like what it looks like. So follow up there. And I guess this is important to also share on I think May 7th, like a month before I applied for Goldman Sachs, I did end up signing RBC for their diversity pathways program. So that was for summer 2022, sales and trading, as well as a $10,000 scholarship. So maybe that's another reason why I wasn't putting in a lot of effort into my Goldman application, because I did already have like a good spot lined up. And also I just really thought that they would never even look at me. I told you this video was going to be scrappy. I forgot I made a slide for now. I will insert TikToks sharing the resume and cover letter I used to apply. Yeah, these TikToks are actually pinned on my TikTok account, so go check that out and follow, because I post almost every day on TikTok and not every day on YouTube because it's too much work over here, y'all. My back is starting to hurt, so I'm gonna try and get through this quickly. On July 22nd, 2021, that's about 1.5 months after applying, I get a hire review request that I thought a robot sent to me. Yes, I had like no confidence that I thought everyone got a higher view, but apparently only like certain people get a higher view. So I just remember I was going to actually meet my Scotiabank cohort of interns that day in Toronto, but at that time I still lived in Hamilton because I go to Mac. So I was like trying to catch the train to go to Toronto, and I just thought, what the heck? Let me just quickly do my higher view. Like, let me get this out of the way. So I didn't do any practice questions. I just opened it up. There were two questions. I believe it was like why Goldman Sachs, why sales and trading, like very basic. And I just like, honestly, I kind of just BS'd it. I mean, okay, to be fair, I did practice a lot because I was already like at Scotia doing sales and trading, and I already recruited for RBC, and I answered all these questions about sales and trading. So like maybe I did bullshit it. Maybe I didn't like prep exactly for the higher view, but I did have like answers in my back pocket. So I just answered it pretty genuinely. It was kind of awkward though. Like you usually the question will flash on the screen and then you get 1 minute to prep and like 2 minutes to answer the question. But like I didn't really want to like prep. I wasn't like really stressed about it. So I would just see the question. I would quickly like jot some things down and then I just would spitball my answer, and I would just like be my sparkly self. Like I would just, just smile and like look enthusiastic because I guess that's just the person I am. But I think like they could see just that I spoke well, I was communicative, and yeah, like I was just like really happy, good vibes, honestly, just positivity. And even though I had like 2 minutes to answer a question, I think I only took like half the time. So don't stress too much about the higher view. I think this is my personal advice. I think, yeah, know your answers, like know the reasons why you're applying to this stuff, but you know, don't underestimate vibes. Vibes go a long way. August 13th, 2021, 3 weeks after my higher view submission. Also, like I don't think I even told anyone about this. Maybe I told my family, like I did a little stupid one-way interview for Goldman. I just thought that was really, I didn't think it was cool, but I just thought, okay, cool. I guess I can say I technically interviewed for Goldman, but I just forgot about it, and I just continued working at Scotiabank and like, yeah, thinking like next summer I'm going to be at RBC. Then I get a sewer day request, and I was like, what? I was like, is this for real? And I did hear that in the past, like pre-COVID, they would actually fly people out to do the super day in person. And so this might sound kind of silly, but like when getting this interview, I wasn't like I was searching for the line about hotel accommodations and flights. I'm like, ooh, a little trip to New York. Like that's what I was most looking forward to. And then like it said it was on Zoom. And I was like, eh. I was like, eh. Anyway, yeah, I was excited, but I would have been more excited if they were gonna fly me out. Okay, so 5 days after the super day request is sent on August 19th, I do the super day in my purple childhood bedroom on a random Thursday in the summer. And to be honest, I did not prep at all. And I don't suggest this, but again, I had no hope. I had a good offer in my back pocket, and I did prep for RBC like very heavily just the month before. So I just thought like, if I do get asked anything technical or stock pitch, I can just use my residual knowledge and studying. So I guess I did prep, just not like directly for Goldman. Now I have some pictures here to represent my three different interviewers, and there's a picture of me that's literally like what I looked like during the time of interview. There's Mona Lisa with the peace sign because that was my attitude toward this. I was just like, let's see what happens. It'd be crazy if I get it, but I'm not gonna try too hard. And then yeah, I did it on my in my purple childhood bedroom. There's a picture of it. I was like, maybe I should go back to Hamilton and do it in my like more grown up condo, but then I was like, nah, it's too much work. I'm not gonna train all the way down there during COVID. So I'm just gonna do it in my purple room. If they don't like it, they don't like it. So yeah, my first interviewer, top left there, he was like a classic finance bro. He was a VP. He was super serious. He opened the call like not smiling, super serious, just like, okay, tell me about yourself. Like, who are you? And blah blah blah. Then he asked me like, how does an investment bank work? And luckily at Scotia, we did a capstone project where we worked with like I was on the sales and trading team, but then you also did the project with like investment banking interns and corporate banking interns. So I kind of like knew the different arms. So I was like, oh, like in an investment bank, there are three main arms: corporate banking, investment banking, sales and trading, and they all work together to support our clients, which can be institutional, corporate, or commercial. And he was like, wow, that's an amazing answer. That's the best answer I've ever heard. And I was like, what? I just thought it was like a very basic answer. And then he's like, oh, what products are traded on the trading floor? And I was like, well, there's fixed income, commodities, currencies, which I'm currently working at Scotiabank. There's also equities and more complicated products like structured notes. Like I guess I did learn a lot at Scotiabank, and I guess I didn't have to prep so much because I was literally working the job. So I just like learned a lot. Anyway, after that question, he like really liked me. And then he's like, what product do you want to, work on? Like, what desk would you like to be on? And I was like, well, I'm on FX trading right now. I think I want to look into more complicated products like structured notes. And he's like, how did you know that I spent my past 12 years working in structured notes? And I honestly didn't. And I was like, wow, I'm lucky. Today's my lucky day. And I literally said that to him. And after that, he's like, well, Wynette, I hope to see you around. And I was like, what? Like he really likes me, which I was like kind of shocked because he was Mr. Serious. But I guess he could tell that like I knew my stuff. Then my second interviewer, see the picture on the bottom left. She was a girl that just graduated basically. She didn't just graduate because I think she was an associate and she was from like not an Ivy, but like a good school. But she was like so nice, and we just more talked about her experience. Like I think she just asked me two questions like, oh, why are you interested in sales and trading? Why Goldman Sachs? Maybe a bit about, my Canadian school. And then she said, do you have any questions for me? She only asked me questions for the first 7 minutes, and then the last 7 minutes I was just asking about her experience. And I was like, oh, you did an internship at Goldman, could you tell me more about that? And then she went in about how her school has co-op, and that's kind of why she spent an off-cycle internship at Goldman in Boston, and why she then decided to move to New York and start full-time. I also should mention that these interviews were only 15 minutes each. Like in Canada, the interviews are like 30 minutes back to back to back, sometimes 45 minutes back to back to back to back. Like for RBC, it was 30 minutes back to back to back. TD was like 45 minutes back to back to back to back. Like they're really long and very intense. But like Goldman, it was 15 minutes back to back to back. It wasn't even an hour. So I was like, okay, that's another reason why I didn't prep so hard, because I was like, we basically just do introductions and then they maybe ask me like one other question and then it's time for me to ask them questions. So I guess I really went in like working smart and not necessarily hard. Anyway, then I was on to my last interviewer when plot twist. My last interviewer does not show up. And I send this email to the recruiter. I'm like, hi, I'm trying to join the following Zoom, but it says the host has another meeting in progress. And like, should I stay on the Zoom or what should I do? At this point, I just wanted to get it done. I'm like, this is my last interview. The first two went really well. And honestly, I was just like very memey about it. Like, I'm like, I can't believe like the first two interviews were kind of a sleigh, like without much prep. And I was like, I'm kind of on a roll. Can we just finish this up? But my interviewer was busy. So I had my last interview scheduled for the next day on a Friday. So, unlike everyone else, I didn't complete my super day that day. I had to do it the following day. So, one day after super day, I had my last interview. And okay, if I cared about the role, I probably would have gotten flustered because this guy, he was like a VP and he was distracted the whole time. He was not looking at me. He opened the call and I can just see him glazing at his monitors. I can see him answering Bloomberg messages, like literally like this. And I just hear his like computer going off and off. And he's just not looking at me. He would ask me questions and I would answer and he would not say anything. Like it would, like I would answer and there's like a brief pause because he's probably typing something and then he goes to the next question. Like it was just not like he was not paying attention to me, but I continued to be my smiley, positive self and I just continued to answer the questions, make jokes that he probably didn't hear and didn't laugh, but I was just like, like I was giving best vibes because like at the end of the day, he wasn't listening to me and I can't make him listen to me, but I think what he took away from that was the inflection of my voice and that I wasn't startled and I was just, you know, I was just happy go lucky, interested and curious. And yeah. Anyway, then he's like, okay, do you have any questions for me? And then I like looked at his profile before and I saw that he was a Don. He went to like a school in New York City. And so I just asked him about that because I was like, oh, I'm planning to be a Don next year. Like, how is it being a Don? So then he started to pay more attention to me because you can't really be distracted when asking such a personal question. I think that was probably like the one good thing that I really did to stand out given the situation that he was so busy. He appreciated that I asked kind of like a lighter question that was personal. And, he gave me like 2 minutes of his undivided attention. After that, I didn't really know like how it went. I know my first two interviews like went really well. The first one, especially because he said he wanted to see me around. The second one, the girl just went really nice, but I just thought she was really nice to everyone. So I wasn't like extremely sure about that. I thought it went better than like I thought it went good, but I didn't know how good. And the last one, that was just a wild card. I'm like, if there's anything, because like the people recruiting for these internships, they literally go to Harvard and not don't just like buy a Harvard shirt and just wear it around like me. Like I was like, if you want to get in, you're all three of your interviewers probably have to say that you're a 10 out of 10. And I don't know if all of them would say that, especially the last one. It is now August 25th, 3 business days after my last interview. Okay, and side note, I'm pretty sure usually like Goldman calls you the day of. Like I've spoken to people and like back then when they used to fly them out, I heard one girl was getting into her cab and she got the call that she got it. So I'm just like, did they delay decisions because I literally had to do my last interview the day after on a Friday and then, Saturday, Sunday, and then they reconvene on Monday. So 3 business days after my last interview, I was on WSO and I see it's like 4 o'clock. I'm in the office at Scotiabank on a random Wednesday doing my end of day reports on the FX desk. And okay, I was never in office. It was just one week when I got to be in office because my MD like flew somewhere and he was nice enough to give me his desk for that week. So it like I was like, what are the chances? Anyway, on WSO, I see that they started calling people and I was like, I wonder if I'm gonna get a call. Like I was excited at this point. Like I was like, okay, I'm honestly very curious. So I just kept refreshing WSO and people were like, just got a call, just got a call. And yeah, I'm literally doing my end of day reports. And if anyone like worked on sales and trading, like the interns, their job is basically reports. And so yeah, like I was just trying to make sure these reports are perfect while like looking at my phone and WSO. Like my heart was pumping. And then all I see is my phone flash New York, New York. And I was like, I got it. I don't know how in the world, I do not know how non-target girl didn't even prep specifically for this, didn't network at all. Like how the heck? And this was, yeah, I put this guy here because that was literally my mood. I was just so confused. I'm like, there's no way. And she calls me and she's like, "Hi, Wynette. We would love to offer you a summer 22 position in our summer analyst class at Goldman Sachs in global markets in New York City." And then, my VP was right behind me and I was in the middle of reports. So I wanted to scream. I literally wanted to scream. Like, this has been my dream. Like, I don't know for the right reasons, but it's been my dream. It's been my goal. And I was just like, "Oh, okay, thanks." Because I was being really quiet. And she's like, "Are you excited? Like, you should be excited." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm just in the office right now." So, like, I didn't get to scream. But then, like, I remember at the end of the day, like, I finished up my reports at 5 p.m. I step outside and I just start screaming. I was like, "Oh my God, yes." And then I call my friends and family and I tell them, and they're absolutely shocked. Like everyone's shocked. I'm shocked. Like, I cannot even believe that this happened. August 30th, 2021, 5 days after I received my Goldman offer, I declined it. And, like, okay, listen, I, as I told you, this was a phase, and I just finished an internship in big tech, and I absolutely loved it. So, like, everything works out. I don't think it makes sense to go back and think, like, oh, do I regret it or whatever, given that I decided to pivot altogether and I ended up in a place that I really do enjoy. But I did decline it. I remember, like, going back and forth with it, and it was COVID, or like just coming off of COVID, and I didn't know how comfortable I felt like living in New York all by myself, given that I haven't lived anywhere like in a city all by myself. So yeah, I declined it. And also I did get, like, because RBC, I signed them before Goldman, I didn't know all about reneging and blah blah blah, like all the complications with that. Which, by the way, like, if I were to mentor a kid that was in a similar situation, I would say, like, don't worry about reneging. My personal opinion is do what's best for you, and if you think going to Goldman New York is best for you, then do it. So, like, I did kind of, I feel like I was a bit susceptible to hearing all the comments about reneging. I think I just wish maybe I was stronger on that forefront, and maybe I would have ended up in New York. But yeah, unfortunately or fortunately, or really indifferently, I declined the offer. And really, that's not the point of this video. But for all of you that want to know, my application to decision took 2 months, from June to August 2021 for summer 2022. Now, keep in mind that timelines are moved up now, they are a lot more accelerated. So I would say if you're looking for summer 2025 internships for a bulge bracket sales and trading, I would look at it for like April. My prediction is the applications will open April 2024, and offers will probably go out like June 2024. So I think that's the window now. Anyway, if you want a top internship like I did, here are the 12 steps I took to land each of my other internships. Like, of course, Goldman, I cold applied, but RBC, Scotia, Amazon, like, I use these 12 steps. So make sure you use them. I'll link the video in the description. And also in the description of that video, my resume and cover letter template, the one that I actually used to get into Goldman Sachs, is also linked. So make sure you check that out. Also, side note, in that video, I suggested that you reach out to campus recruiters after you applied for a job, but I also suggest now that you reach out to, like, hiring managers. So that's managing directors, VPs, associates, analysts that are working in sales and trading. For example, if you're looking for sales and trading internships or investment banking or whatever it may be. And that is it. Thanks for watching. That was a phase in my life. And if you're in this phase, and hopefully this video was helpful for you, follow me at It's Wynette YouTube YT on TikTok for daily uploads, advice. I also answer questions there. It's a lot more of like a chill, candid, freeform sort of content space for me. So yeah, I will see you in the next one, and good luck with applications. Bye, everyone.